Pure monotheism stood at the very beginning. If God created everything on earth, then why did humanity not begin with the true faith in the heavenly family? Why did paganism, Buddhism, and other religions appear first? And if there was some divine plan, then what was the purpose of this? Here again we face a historical mistake. A mistake so common that I am no longer surprised by it. It comes from the way we are educated. The mistake is this: the assumption that paganism came first. But that is not true. From the very beginning, there was pure monotheism, a clear and direct faith in the one God. That is what existed originally. And historical research confirms this in very striking ways. Even Roman polytheism, which everyone knows, turns out to have monotheistic roots. In the earliest period, in the time of Romulus and Remus, we find evidence that Rome began with monotheism. Only later did that monotheism gradually begin to break apart. There were many reasons for this decline, but the pattern is clear. Paganism arose from the disintegration of monotheism. The same thing happened elsewhere. Buddhism arose out of Hinduism, from the religious world of early Brahmanism. And in the oldest Pali texts, not the later Sanskrit ones, but the earliest layers, we also find direct indications of monotheistic belief. So monotheism is the true religion, the original and the correct one. And the departures from it were caused by many different factors. Even when Christ came, his appearance was accompanied by astonishing signs. The apostles preached with miracles so striking that it is hard not to be amazed. And yet, look at what humanity has come to now. What happened? The cause is human passions. And even worse, we often do not even recognize our passions as passions, or our sins as sins. This blindness is the root of religious decline, the spiritual degradation of humanity. And this degradation is tied to something essential. A person would not be a person without freedom, the freedom to choose between good and evil. If freedom did not exist, God could have simply removed the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. There would be no choice, no temptation. And if Adam and Eve sinned, God could have grabbed them by the collar, sat them down in paradise, and ordered them to stay quiet. But then a human being would not be a human being. A person is free, and that freedom is his dignity. Only freely can a person turn to God, not by force. That is why, when we look at history, for example, the Crusades in the Western Church, we condemn them as barbaric and anti-Christian. They contradict Christ himself. Remember what Christ said. Could he not have called down 12 legions of angels? And yet he allowed himself to be crucified. He calls humanity not by violence, but by love. And we must answer not as slaves, but with love. That is what explains all these things.